What's going on, everybody? Your two favorite wild rascals are back here once again in Woodsboro, where Ghostface has returned to stab another generation of teens in Scream, or actually Scream 5.
Hello, Sidney. It's an honor.
Here we are, actually 26 years later since the original film, directed by the man, the myth, the legend, the late, great Wes Craven. Huge fans of his work, obviously, over the past 30, 40 years. Amazing director back in the 90s and bringing horror back to the mainstream, which is a huge aspect. And it's weird talking about this all these years later, 5 movies later, and here we are back with the revive of the horror genre, basically rebooting films and then having direct sequels to the films is kind of like how they're doing with this film.
Yeah, in the film, they actually refer to it as a requel. Right. So they kind of, the Scream movies have always been known to sort of introduce something new to like movie rules and movie fandom. And this one, they call it a requel. So that'll be the latest bit of popular culture caught in a bottle here, lightning in a bottle for this movie. So yeah, we are back here with Ghostface all these years later, and we have an all new cast basically of younger actors and actresses. We get the beginning opening scene there, much like the first one and all the movies that have followed, the big kill scene in the beginning with the phone call. And then obviously Ghostface getting in the house and killing the victim, setting up the rest of the story. This one, he attacks the girl in the beginning, but she doesn't die. She ends up in the hospital. And it's sort of the story's sort of told through this teen's story about being in the hospital and about who her family is and their relationship to some players in the original movie.
Yep, and that introduces her sister, that is Sam, played by Melissa Barrera. Essentially, she lived in Woodsboro back in the day, and this is Tara's older sister, and Tara's played by the young Jenna Ortega. That's going to be the Wednesday in the new Tim Burton Netflix series. So pretty cool seeing her in this. But basically, it's about the relationship, their family. Her older sister, Sam, is actually Billy Loomis's daughter, which was Skeet Ulrich from the first film. Oh, Billy, she ended up leaving Woodsboro, years before and returning back after her young sister gets attacked by the Ghostface killer in the opening sequence. So it sets up kind of what they're going for in this film.
We've had high expectations for this film since it was announced, just hearing that it was going to be directed by the, Ready or Not directors. A lot of hype surrounding the film, and in the weeks prior to its release, a lot of rave reviews for the film. So went in with pretty high expectations. You had seen it before me. You kind of told me what you thought, beforehand, before I saw it. But I kept an open mind and watched it. And I guess, from our discussions, we pretty much thought the same of the movie. It didn't really add anything great to the franchise. It didn't ever have any energy for me. It didn't move fast enough. They, of course, brought back the legacy characters, and that was the best part, seeing obviously David Arquette, Nev Campbell, and Courtney Cox back up on the screen was awesome. But the new cast, like, there wasn't any of the kids that I really sympathized with, like we did with Sidney in the first movie. They didn't spend enough time on the character, and they didn't let it, organically grow. They kind of rushed it.
Yeah, there's the whole new cast of teens. We have Wes, played by Dylan Minnette from 13 Reasons Why, Old Clay. And I love this kid. I think he's a really great, young actor, but he didn't really have much to do in this film, alongside the rest of the cast, like Liv, Amber, Chad, and his sister, twin sister, Mindy, which she's like the horror or movie buff kind of thing, where she brings up the whole genre and poking fun at it, having the requels and all that. She's basically the new Randy. And we find out that that's Randy's niece and nephew. And they're talking, there's a big picture of Randy like up in the living room and stuff like that. So that's how it ties into the first one. But it's pretty interesting. But I thought she was probably the most interesting character out of the new teens. And that's not saying much, because we're not given anything. Just like, okay, people are dying, Ghostface is back killing them. They start getting sliced and diced one by one throughout the film, and that's it.
Yeah, not a lot of great story, or the writing in this one wasn't as sharp. I felt, they kind of rehashed a lot of stuff that they've already done time and time again. Nothing really surprising, but they did in this one up the gore factor, which was really awesome. There were a couple really brutal kills in the film. They didn't hold back in that aspect.
Yeah, when you got the guys at the helm here from Ready or Not, you know it's going to be a gore fest because that movie was pretty gory. Another great movie I saw in the theater. I thought it had a great time with it. You know, they're going to bring the blood and gore element to this film, and they absolutely did. One of the best parts of the movies are the kill scenes and a lot of the annoying kids that you don't really care for end up dying, so you're enjoying that much more. So I thought, in terms of like the set design, practical effects, so the kill scenes were really top notch. The rest of the movie, including the script, just fell flat.
Yeah, I felt much the same. Like I said, just no energy in this film whatsoever. The original, of course, had the great, young cast, all exuberant. You had Matt Lillard there. You had Jamie Kennedy. It was just a fun cast. This one didn't have any life to the kids. Everybody seems like they're depressed, maybe an antidepressant medication in high school. There's, just, it's not fun at all. I felt, this is more straight horror. The legacy characters were pretty well used in this one. I mean, they did about all they could do with those characters. I will say though, one of the main characters gets killed, and the character, just the way they did him dirty on that, I was like, well, damn. But you'll have to find out in the movie. But it's a pretty brutal kill. And when you find out who the killers are, you're just going to be like, okay, how? No, there's just not possible. But okay. We're just picking here, of course.
It doesn't work.
It's just like that doesn't make sense.
There's a lot of plot holes, especially in terms of the killer. This is another whodunit. Like much of the Scream films, it's like somebody close to them, right? This is based on Tara's character and her sister, so a close friend, a boyfriend. Introducing Richie, Sam's boyfriend, played by Jack Quaid from The Boys, shows up. He's going back to Woodsboro. Not really familiar with the past and the sad movies and all that. So he's getting educated throughout the film. But that's the whole thing, is always to look at somebody that's close to you. That's the killers. Figure out who the killer is. And the big reveal at the end was very lackluster and didn't make sense and silly.
It just wasn't surprising at all. I kind of figured they were going to do something like that. Yeah, it didn't work for me either. It didn't. The only thing that worked about the ending was we got to go back to one of the, main places that they shot in the original film, which was cool. The nostalgia was great. They had some really nice shout outs to Wes Craven, the director of the original Scream, of course. And there are a lot of nice nods, and they respected the legacy pretty well in the film. It's just the new story didn't work for me. It just didn't never click fully, and wasn't a lot of fun. And the music that they used, I just couldn't get into. Maybe they should have thrown in some old, songs back from the first Scream, just when the music was a little better, Maybe that's just because we're getting older. Who knows? But
yeah, the one song they did have, the Nick Cave song.
Oh yeah,
Bad Seed song. Yeah. But there was one thing that really pissed me off about this movie. They brought in Kyle Gallner, who's a great actor. He was in the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. Veronica Mars, a bunch of shit. But I was really looking forward to his character. They're making it out. He's going to have a big role. He's in the fucking movie like 5 minutes. It made no sense.
Yeah, it's just like they threw that in there just to be a red herring. Because
Yeah,
you can be
exactly.
like, oh, well, he kind of looks like Billy from the first one, and then I
Yeah.
figure that's where they're going to go. But yeah, it just
went
didn't go
nowhere.
anywhere. Just a victim.
I'm like, okay, he's here. But yeah, we have the song from the first movie, and then that's about it. There's some nice nods to the first film, and obviously paying homage and tribute to the late great Wes Craven. And they had the right intentions, just kind of fell flat with execution.
Yeah, I agree. I was expecting more out of this film, but it's not like it was terrible or anything. It was just like, take it or leave it kind of thing. When I wanted like a badass sequel, kind of like what they were able to do with Halloween Kills, because we both like that. What David Gordon Green did with that's re-cool, you can say. So yeah, Scream, just the new one just didn't work altogether as a cohesive unit. All the main casts that came back for the original all did great jobs. I like what they did with them. Cool to see Sidney, of course, back on there. She's the OG of this franchise. She's the Scream Queen, Sidney Prescott, of course. Ghostface's original, who he was hunting in the original, and it's followed on all these years later. This franchise just keeps going on. I don't think this will be the end of the franchise, especially since it went over the box office this weekend, did really well. I don't think we've seen the last of Ghostface, which I kind of figured it's going to be one of those movies where they keep doing them over and over, reimagining them. So hopefully the next one will be a little bit more towards what we were expecting. But overall, I had a pretty good time with the film. It just didn't do anything cutting edge for me or new. So it's just kind of middle standard movie, middle of the road.
Did we need this movie? No, we didn't. I really enjoyed Scream 4 and I thought it could end there. But here we are 11 years later, Scream 5, whatever. We didn't need this movie. I know a lot of the horror fans are really loving this movie. I'm a huge horror fan and I was really disappointed. I was really looking forward to it. One of my most anticipated films of this month and year. I was really let down with the final product.
Yeah, that's a bummer. You're a big horror buff, so
Yeah.
take this guy's, opinion. He watches them all the time. He's a big horror movie buff. He's knowledgeable. He knows what he's looking for, and he was disappointed, and I kind of felt the same too. Yeah, it's just middle of the road. I'm going to give Scream or Scream 5 a 3 out of 5 Dewey Riley hair pieces. Whoa.
I have to agree with you in a lot of this. The legacy characters returning. Nev Campbell is always fantastic. Sidney Prescott, Gail Weathers, Courtney Cox, and Dewey. Even Arquette were all great, with what they're given in the film. They have a different purpose in this film, being older, wiser, Dewey retiring, returning back to help solve this case. Who's killing off all these kids? Who's the Ghostface killer? And Sidney returning. She's has kids now. She's married. She has to protect her family. And then Gail returning as well. So I thought they were great. The rest of the new cast is pretty forgettable. Couldn't tell you their names after talking about it 5 minutes ago. It's a movie I probably won't revisit anytime soon. But there's some great aspects about it, being the blood, the gore, practical effects. Set design was all really cool. And I thought that the directors did a pretty decent job. But overall, pretty lackluster. I was really disappointed. I went in with high expectations, really excited for it, and just came out really bummed. That being said, I'm giving Scream 2022 or Scream 5 a 3 out of 5 David Arquette hair pieces. So we're interested in hearing your guys' thoughts on Scream. What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? What's your favorite movie in the franchise? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit subscribe. Also check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram on our website, cinefellas.com.
So we've had a great time here in Woodsboro tonight, talking about the new Scream movie. Me and my good mate here, Logan Myers, we have a real wild time talking about these movies and shows here on Cinefellas on our YouTube page. Thank you guys for following along with us. We really appreciate the views and the comments. Keep sending them in. Let us know what you guys want to see more of. We've had a good time in reviewing the new Scream movie. We both wish we would have liked it some more, but at least there are some more gore, I suppose. It's never a bad time to have some more gory horror movies out there anyway. Hopefully the next horror movie we review will be a lot better, huh?
Yeah, I'm hoping so.
All right, so we're signing out here in Woodsboro, Illinois, that is. I'm Henry Hill.
And I'm Logan Myers, signing out until the next movie review. Cheers!
What's your favorite scary movie?